Just wanted to, did you have anything in particular you wanted to?
No, not really. I mean, it's a new moon, so I just wanted to talk at some point about, focusing on what we're creating because it
Yeah.
feels like we're going through so much letting go. I mean, we're letting go of everything, right? So as we're letting go of all those ego attachments and the whole world seems to be falling apart and everything's shifting and changing as it's supposed to, as we go through this major transformation on the earth plane, it's easy to be caught up in the falling of the tower, right? And in the destruction and in what we're losing and in, and to constantly be aware of where fear shows up for us, because of course that's what we must transmute in order to live in the higher frequencies within our body. But it's really important to think about what we're creating. So that was my only thought on the new moon, is that we really need to remember how powerful we are, that we're powerful creators. That's the path of the master, and that we're creating all the time. So start to command, start to affirm, or continue to command and affirm, and know what you're drawing into your life. What do you want? What's the new earth like? What are you creating? And we have to remind ourselves of that all the time, because we continue to investigate the deeper truths about what's happening on the planet, but we have to draw ourselves away from that and say, wait a minute, I don't want to be so preoccupied. And so, you kind of get into it almost like a soap opera, practically, what's going on now, kind of thing. But that's not a creative stance. So we really have to work and remind ourselves, okay, what are we creating? What are we moving into? What do we want? What do we, what's the new earth frequency that we're carrying, that we're manifesting at all times?
So that can seem overwhelming because sometimes you may not be sure. So what I wanted to expand on this is, do you believe? Do you believe wholeheartedly that your soul has a master plan for you this lifetime, that it has a blueprint for you, that you don't see all of it at this stage? I mean, do you believe that your soul aspect, part of you, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, has an agenda or a blueprint or a master plan for you in this life, which has been unfolding for you? But right now, the world is at a crossroad. Our 3D reality is in a crossroad. Life as we know it is in a crossroad. Our lives as a society is at a crossroad. And we know it ain't going back. We're just beginning this shift. So and this is why I had to really, dig deep on my decision, because, we've got the attachment, we've got the money issue, we've got all that stuff that we attach to everything that we're doing. But I know from experience, and I'm sure a lot of you have had the same thing, and we have, that, when it's time to change direction, when it's time for us to open more of who we are, our soul will begin to direct us. It will shut those doors. It will shut those doors that no longer serve you. And can you trust that new ones open that you can't even see, that will guide you and direct you to something so much more incredible that it's hard to even comprehend? Because this is where we're at, guys. I've lived it. She's lived it. I had it, as you know, my story. It wasn't easy.
And it's circling back again.
It's circling back again, but this time I know I'm going to another level. But the empowering part was I knew that I had to make the call. I wasn't going to wait until they thought, oh, well, we don't need Dean. Not that that was ever going to happen, actually, but I knew I could have hung in there just for but it didn't. It wasn't authentic, and it wasn't integral for me to do that. So it's tough. It's a tough call. But I know, because I've experienced it. Here I am as you know, here I am in Canada with Rebecca, living here, talking to you guys, that I could never even comprehended when I was back in Australia. It was just not even a smidge of understanding that this is where my soul was going to lead me. So the question is, how strong is your faith? How much can you trust that the greater version of you that knows why you are here has got your back and will lead you to what is next? When we often think, well, we've got to hang on to the old, what I'm saying is maybe not. And you'll know by how in alignment you are with what you're currently doing. And this is what I've just been through. And I knew it wasn't in alignment. So that was my intuition saying, you've got to get out there. But, all those buts. What about this? What about the money? Obviously is a big one. What about but I had to just allow that and let it go. So we're all going to be experiencing this. I don't feel any of you will necessarily be where you are now. I mean, it's changing. Even if you are, it may be in a totally different role, or because the world is going to need awakened people to assist in this transition in ways that we perhaps don't understand yet. But what's happening now with these shifting energies and these solar flares, and I guess some of you felt how intense the energies have been the last few nights. It's just been crazy. Well, that is part of our activation. That is part of our clearing. That is part of our waking up and being activated. And we'll find that our gifts will start to, become more prominent, and that we will just naturally find ourselves with new doors opening, new connections being made, a new level of excitement that gets ignited. And boy, we could do with that right now, because there's not a lot to be excited about, right? Mm-hmm. And because it's been a battle, it's been a fight, it's been a struggle, it's been everything. And so we're getting battle weary. Mm. And that's why it's important to really take the time to self-care. But how much can you trust and believe that your true you soul has your back, has a plan and a blueprint, and everything will be better than you can imagine if you can relax into it and allow it to carry you? That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, it's really how much do you truly believe the universe has your back? Right? How deep is your faith? Right? That's the question. How deep is our faith?
So the old is crumbling. So we're yet to create the new. So our role within the old is going to shift and change, and we'll fall away to whatever the extent our soul has got set up. And we can't know that for anybody else. Only each individual can know that what is right for themselves. But that's where the intuition comes in. Your soul speaks through intuition. And if you get too caught in the head space and worry or dealing with it all, which we have to, you've got to make that time to create that space for your soul to communicate and we have to be brave enough. And it takes a shitload of courage, guys, as you know, you're all going through different things to follow that guidance to the T and see what magic unfolds, because that's where the magic is.